Hey guys, I am finally back and it is time to play in some makeup. And this palette right here has got to be one of the most gorgeous things I have laid my eyes on. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome on back to my channel. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you're older but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley. I have a doctorate in pharmacy and I love makeup. So that's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. But please just call me Ash or Ashley. And eyeshadow is my jam. It's literally one of my most favorite things to talk about here on my channel. So today I have a new indie brand. They're out of New Zealand. And I saw this palette on Instagram and I was just like, whoa. What is this? Like, the imagery, the promo was off the chain because they had me captured and inspired, and it was like, I want to purchase this palette. So this is Question Beauty. This is going to be the chapter 1 because it's his first eyeshadow palette, Legend of the Land and Sea. I had to make sure I got that right. Y'all know I will make up a palette name. Apparently, I've been calling the Dede signature Drops of Fantasy, Fantasy Drops. Yep, don't mean no harm. That's just what I do. So the name of this palette, like I said, is The Legend of the Land and Sea. It's their first palette ever. This brand has been basically doing like loose pigments and things of that nature. And their theory behind doing the loose pigments was that you can kind of pick and choose what you wanted and curate your collection based off of things that you actually wanted to purchase instead of buying a bunch of palettes. Or I don't even want to say a bunch of palettes, but when I was reading their website, they were just basically like purchasing things that you needed for your collection versus purchasing a bunch of stuff that you don't need. But this is their first eyeshadow palette and it has me locked in. Now the palette retails for $68 and the packaging got me. Now, no, they are not the first brand to do this type of packaging. Remember the Flower Punk palette by Kaleidos? You know, that was around. What happened with them? Okay, we're not going to go there. But this is the palette. Like, look at it. So here we go. Here we have like this whole translucent tempered glass situation. Well, I would say more plastic, not tempered glass. And here is the gorgeous, gorgeous color story. We definitely have some multi-chromes and some matte shades. So like the whole opening of this, it just gave me that vibe of like, innovative, just gorgeous, just different, a full experience when you open it. Kind of like, you know how I feel when I open up a Pat McGrath palette and I see the whole box and the artwork, and then I open up the lacquer palette. It was just giving its vibes. Now, I said the palette retail for $68. The shipping was free from New Zealand. Honey, yes, shipping was free from New Zealand, and they did have like a 10% code that you could redeem when you got on their website. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take the chance and let's go ahead and try this out. This is gorgeous, something new, something like a little different to my collection. And I will talk about a couple things that I feel like are a little redundant towards the end of the video when I do the demos. But let's go ahead and let's talk about a few key points with the brand. So things I definitely want to mention about the brand is that they are cruelty free, they are vegan. Like I said, they are NZ owned, so that means they are out of New Zealand. They are Mind Mica free, and there are no microplastics in this brand, okay? And it says basically like their tagline is dive into the world of the purest bright colors with our multi-chrome loose pigments. Elevate your makeup game, add a touch of color to your everyday. So like I mentioned before, they definitely started off with loose pigments. It's a whole like wide variety on their website. Gorgeous loose pigments. I'm probably not going to use them, so I'm not going to go there. But this is their first eyeshadow palette, installment 1. And then, you know, they do have some single shadows. They don't just have loose pigments as well. And they also have like some really beautiful, colorful mascaras. And they also have like some multi-chrome mascaras. I'm like, some of these look really gorgeous. So, you know, that is something that I'm going to take a look at. They also have like blush sticks. They have a whole wide variety. They got lip glosses. Well, they have a hollow lip gloss. That looks kind of cute. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I like pop it here. So they have so many things with the brand, and they also have mixing mediums and all types of things to like make your products enhance and use these particular shadows. Now, of course, I went ahead and used my NYX glitter glue as I typically do. I have 3 looks. I'm going to talk about them as I go on. And I must come on here and say, like, I am so happy to be here filming today. I have not put up a lot of content lately, and I have kind of mentioned it in some previous videos, but I suffer, or my lupus, I think it interferes with my CNS system, like your cerebral nerve, your central nervous system. Okay, so that was like literally the first symptoms I had back in the day. I had very bad nerve pain in my left arm. That's why I knew like something was up. I wasn't feeling right, and then everything just kind of came later. And as you guys know, at the end of last year, almost about a year ago, I had to go in the hospital, found out I have like occipital neuralgia / cerviogenic migraines. And baby, I have had a time. I've had a month in April. I get these nerve blocks every 12 weeks. And so I just had my nerve block like last week. So I'm like in my good stage, okay? And then I get my migraine Botox like at the end of this week. So I'll really be in my good stage. But the problem is it like wears off. And when it wears off, it's like I'm not totally bad. And it's not like it's totally worn off, but you could just feel like it decreasing out of your system. And the pain comes. And at the end of April, I had to go to the emergency room. It was just a mess. I was just in so much pain. They had to do like a migraine cocktail for you to help control it. And it just has me in pain. And sometimes it has me more tired, or when I get done, like, you know, doing whatever I need to do for work. So yeah, I've been on vacation this week. I celebrated my birthday, and I just had like stuff I need to catch up on around the house, and you know how that goes. And so it's just like I had bought some new like chairs for my living room a couple weeks ago, like they arrived right before I had to go to the emergency room, or in that great amount of pain, and like they were still sitting in the plastic. So I had to get that together. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to play in makeup. So if the content seems a lot slower than what it usually is, I know I do a couple videos a week because like I have a full-time job, and I got a couple side hustles, and I got other things going on as well. But that is why, because I just have not had the energy. So we're trying the new things. I'm working with my doctor. I have like some new non-pharmacological things to help me as well. I'm in therapy. I go to the stretch lab. I do all the things, y'all. So I am really trying to manage this condition, but sometimes it just really throws me for a loop. But enough of that. We are here to play in makeup. So let's go ahead and get started. I am ready to play with this palette. I have my eyebrows on. Of course, I use my usual products, which is the Goof Proof Pencil, the shade 3.75. I went in with a little bit of the Precisely My Brow Wax, which is in shade 2.75. Now I have my eyelids primed with my usual also, which is the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Contemplative State. It is like a perfect match for my skin complexion. Now, what I am debating on is if I'm going to go on top with this Dede Signature Yellow Primer. This is in the shade Sunny to really help these yellow shades pop. Because when I swatched it, I was like, okay, it has good pigmentation, but you know how yellows can be. But I kind of want to test it out so you can see what it looks like without the primer, you know, just so you can see, basically, because you might not have this primer in your collection, but I really do recommend this. I don't use it alone because this primer is a little bit too emollient. So I like to put this primer on top and then pat the other primer in. And it just kind of gives that nice base that I'm looking for, where, like, as you can see, like, this doesn't slip and slide around on my eyes. It just, like, stays put. Where this is a little bit emollient, it kind of gets, like, just caught right in here and can cause creasing. But I'm really excited because look how stinking beautiful, and I'm very excited about this shade. Oh my goodness. All right, let me go ahead and get started. guys, I am back, and here are the first two looks, and I absolutely adore how they came out. This palette is just so gorgeous. Now this, I'll already say, it's my favorite look. I was like, should I put that green right there with that teal? But I'm really glad I did, because it just gave it like a little extra pop, a little extra dimension. Because normally, you know, adding two multi-chromes together, it can kind of just read as a nice little muddy mess. But that was not really the case. The brown shade, I just kind of played with it in a way. I wanted to see if it could kind of sheer out and act like a transition shade, and happy to report it did. It had nice blendability. It is deep, so you could definitely go ahead and put a lot of contrast with your looks. And in addition, I feel like I look really yellow right now. All right, that is better. I was like, somehow the little yellow part got on, and you know your girl starts looking extra like yellow. So I was just like, wait, when we pulled out, what's happening here, okay? So this looks better. Now, so like I said, when you put the two multi-chromes together, sometimes it could just read as a muddy mess, but that really wasn't the case. The transient, like the little translucent shimmer, is really pretty also. Oh, do they have names? Yes, the palette does actually have names. So when I'm talking about the turquoise shade right here, this is kind of like, it is the typical, like this shade and this shade definitely is like the typical standard multi-chrome. I'm sure you have this in your collection 20 times over. I definitely see why they put it in here. So that would be Emerald Waters. I think it really worked really gorgeous with the Jungle Mirage. That is that particular shade there. And then over here, I just felt like I just wanted a little bit more pop of gold. So I went ahead and put in Treasure Trove, because up against this particular shade, the Shimmering Scales, it kind of read as one, like, and I needed like a little breakup, a little bit and more intensifying the gold. So I really like how this eye came out. It is a little bit softer. This one is definitely more for the dramatics, reading very mermaid. They're both reading mermaid. This is like nighttime mermaid, and this is like daytime mermaid. But overall, I feel like it worked out really well. Then go ahead and lay these two particular mattes, the softer pastel mattes, down in the inner corner. On this particular eye, I can just like kind of take it or leave it. I definitely feel like the blue stood out a lot better. I did not put that primer down. I definitely feel like putting this particular primer down that I talked about right before I started the eye looks would definitely help the cause. I'm excited to see what this one is going to do, because it's more like a highlighter yellow. But over that, everything performed wonderfully. I did go ahead and use my NYX glitter glue. I definitely felt like that is the secret to having the shades pop on my eyelids, having to stay in the crease, and helping these multi-chromes like give off that true pigmentation that you see when you actually swatch the shades. So everything worked really well together. For I also like to say, I like how light this palette is. It's really nice and lightweight. It was not a burden for me to pick up and point out the shadow shades like it is with some of the other palettes when I'm filming with them. So for the face details, let's run down them real quick. I went in with my Haus Labs foundation. This is in the shade 400 Medium Deep. Took both of my Danessa Myricks Lift and Flex concealers. I really love these concealers. I went in with shade 6, a little bit closer in here, have more brightness, and paired it with shade 11. Set that with my baby pink powder by Pat McGrath Labs. That is the under eye powder right here. And then for my bronzer slash bronze tour, or whatever you want to call it, I went in with the e.l.f. Liquid Camo Bronzer. I am on my second tube of this. This is the shade Deep Intense. And I have to kind of remember, like, don't go ham, especially since I have a newer bottle and it's all like liquidy and stuff, because it's very easy to put on a little bit too much, you know, because it's new, you know, like kind of coming out at the tube at the time. Went in with this beautiful baby pink. This is the cream and powder blush combo from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. I do have a code with Glaminatrix. This is the shade Think Pink. Really gorgeous combination. I just went in with the powder side. I do have a code with them. It's Dr. Ash, but baby pink sometimes to me it's just like kind of like my go-to shade when I can't figure out what blush to put on. And then paired that with a combo I've been loving so much for my lips, which is the Chestnut Lip Liner by Dede Signature. And this is not the lip gloss rather that comes with this. They each come with their own lip liner and lip gloss set, which is wonderful for like the low price of like $7.99 or $8.99. Like you can't beat that lip liner and a gloss. So this is the shade Dusk right here. And this one is a little bit lighter, so it just kind of gives that nice little 90s chocolate vibe lip, and I'm here for it. And paired it off with my never-ending Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter that I just can't seem to ever finish. And this is a shade that they had in a collaboration with Puma, but it is just like a standard nice peachy gold. You can find it. It really looks the same as if you have the Pat McGrath Labs Divine Rose highlighter, the one in the pink. It looks exactly the same. Okay, and then went ahead and finished off with my favorite lashes, which are these Z-Gain lashes in the shade brown. They are cat eye style. For the eyeliners, oh man, I went ahead and organized my eyeliner slash lip liner setup. Thank God, like, oh my God. And got rid of the crap that did not work. Well, not crap, but you know, the old ones that didn't work. And found some new ones that I hadn't used, still with the plastic on it, that did still work after how long? I don't know. But, okay. So, for this particular eye, I went in with this. I will put it on the screen because you know I don't remember the name and it's worn off, but it's by ColourPop. It is one of their cream gel multi-chrome liners that is here. It is actually a perfect match for this shadow. They go 1-in-1, same type of multi-chrome shift, and I feel like this one is a little bit too bright to just wear it on. And you know I love to like double up on the eyeliner or waterline. That kind of serves as like my under eye shadow because I don't typically like to do it because I feel like it kind of makes the rest of, like, between here and here, my eyes are small. Between here and here, I got a lot of space. Between here and here, a little small. So I went ahead and put it with this NYX liner. You can't ever make me talk about NYX liner. Look, I don't know how long I had this. Probably a couple years. It was down at the bottom of the little thing, the holder. But this is the shade Tropical Green. I just took the plastic off it, put it right here. Just as smooth and creamy. Love me some NYX products, okay? Then, for this particular eye, I went in with another cream gel multicolored liner, multicolored liner by ColourPop Cosmetics as well. Put it here, exact match for the shade right here, which is the Emerald Waters Hand in Hand. Put that here, then paired it with the shade Zulu, which is the light one, and that is by ColourPop also. Don't know. Let me see. Ha! Right here. I could find it easy. Boom. So, you know, that was the face details. I just love how it came out. So gorgeous. So beautiful. And now I really cannot wait to like play with this and this. If I had a collab, I'm telling y'all would get some type of blurple, navy blurple situation. That's like one of my shades. Like, we don't meet up often, but when we do, it's a time, okay? So let's go ahead and jump into the third and final look. I am back, and here is the third and final look, and I just love how this came out. It's bold, it's structural, it's kind of abstract, it's whimsical, it's light. The light just like catches it and kind of gets the different shifts of the different colors with the multi-chrome. So it is really, really gorgeous. So it kind of looks like a nice, you know, bold wing liner situation slash kind of cut crease. I'm just here for it. So the only thing different with my face details are going to be just basically the eyeliner. I went in with this dark blue Juvia's Place eyeliner, and this is a shade called Midnight Blue, and it's part of their Nubian eyeliner collection. Really gorgeous. And then I went ahead and took my multi-chrome gel liner by ColourPop, and this is the shade Acting Up, and then just like popped it right here in the middle, basically to kind of just match with, you know, what I had going on at the top with that beautiful purple multi-chrome shade. And then for the lip, because it was so brown, I just wanted something a little bit, give it a little lightness to the lip. For this particular look, I went in with my Fenty lip oil in the shade Miss Jellyfish. So I am so ecstatic with how this look came out. It is really perfect. Now, when you saw me first start the look, I wanted to kind of test out and see where we landed with that particular light pastel shade, which is Sandy Shores. Now, I put the Dede Signature Sunny primer down over my matte Contemplative State like I told you I normally would. And when I put the shade, that's pastel yellow down, I was like, I don't like it, okay? I don't like it. Now, I definitely felt like it did help this particular shade, which is Lost Relic. However, I don't know how it would show up without that extra enhancement from that particular yellow primer. But this, for me, it's a no, okay? So if I had my pick of like, I could swap it out, I would have loved to see like a green matte in this particular palette, maybe even like a bold green grassy matte, or maybe a little bit olivey type of matte, just because it goes with the sea, because it would go with sea and land, you know, but we don't want to go too brown because we have this particular brown. But I do like this shade, and I can fool with this particular powder blue matte, which is Moonlit Lagoon. Overall, I'm really pleased with this palette. So I was looking back at my past order because I know I didn't pay too much with for the palette, but the palette, like I said, is $68. I got a 10% discount, and the shipping was free from New Zealand. I mean, like, what more can you ask for? It's brands in America that can't even give you free shipping. So like right there, you're off at a win. So I actually spent less, only spent $61.20 total for my order with the taxes. And that's actually less than what the palette costs, you know? So I'm very pleased with that. For me, the whole package, the aesthetic is just wonderful. It did take about 2.5 weeks, maybe like 3 weeks or so to actually get the palette. And I mean, that's to be expected. It's coming from New Zealand. I kind of slid it in before the tariffs, you know, kind of took place. I'm not sure exactly what the situation is now, but New Zealand's not really a country that's being impacted. It did pass through, I want to say, some part of China. It did go through Asia and it comes to me. But overall, like, it was packaged really nicely. For me, like, everything just caught my eye about it. And I was like, the color story, the brand, and then this packaging. It was just like, how innovative, you know, it just kind of gives me that whole experience. Like if you were to open up a Pat McGrath palette, like, oh, the sleek packaging. It's not too heavy. It's recycled material. Like I said, it was very easy for me to hold this palette up. A lot of times I'm like, my hands are small. It's always like a thing trying to get me to show you the shadows that I'm using. And with this, I did not have a problem. Would I travel with this? I actually probably would travel with this, to be honest. When I travel with my makeup, especially my eyeshadow palettes, they always go in my little carry-on tote. Like, they're not going to be in my check luggage. Absolutely not. So I wouldn't even really be too concerned about it breaking. But overall, the artwork, the imagery, it's just so gorgeous. The quality, the mattes blend out very nicely, other than just having like that pastel matte. But you know, I feel that way about most pastel shades. Like, they're just so on a deeper skin complexion unless they're formulated really right. I feel like the only pastels that I've kind of like run into that have been really great can be Blend Bunny, and it's not all of the Blend Bunny shades. Of course, Dede Signature has a pastel palette that's really nice. Glaminatrix also has a pastel palette that's really nice. And then the Clarity ones are kind of like here and there too. So pastels, it's just like, it's acquired taste, especially when you are a woman of a deeper complexion. So, but overall, I just really love it. Like the color story is just amazing. I feel like the shade Mystic right here, this is the shade Mystic Haze. It really just kind of sets the palette apart because it's very purple. Here I have it on with like this purple bluish shade, which is the shade I guess Deep Sea, so like that blurple shade I said, and it just kind of totally took a different effect, with especially by me having it over the Lost Relic shade, which is here. So like when you kind of shift here, it kind of gives like a little aquamarine, then popping in this shade right here, it just kind of gave a whole different transformation, and it's reading purple, it's reading pink, and it's giving the aqua shade, versus like you don't have to just pair it with this. I can't wait to just pair it with this. A little deeper, more purple blue leaning look, but here I just feel like it was so fun, and it just kind of gave a really different look. Like you could do this daytime, you could do this nighttime. It's giving dramatic, but it's not too dramatic at the same time. So the shadow performance is really, really nice. For me, I feel like you would have to ask yourself if you're going to purchase this palette, although the price point isn't super crazy. I feel like you get a whole experience with this palette. Is it worth it, especially for these two shades, this one and this one? Because like, let's be honest, these are shades that we have in our collection over and over and over. They're kind of like default multi-chromes. Like if you're going to have a teal, it's going to have that teal to purple shift, and this green to kind of like gold shift. We have that so many times. That was probably like one of your first multi-chromes you ever purchased. So you kind of have to take that into account, but I really do like the whole aesthetic. I felt like it was really unique and something beautiful to bring into my collection. And that's why I wanted it. Like I thought about it. Like I was like, okay, this is on my mind. I went ahead and purchased it. And I was like, hey, free shipping. It made it all worth it. And I just really want to be thoughtful about some of the things I bring into my collection, and unique and different and beautiful. So that was this. So I really do love it. I can't wait to see like what chapter 2 is. I don't know how many chapters are going to be. They do sell primarily like loose pigments. That's how they started. Now that for me, I could say I'm going to use a loose pigment, but that's just really not my ministry. Like since back in the day when MAC had their pigments. So that's either here or there. But let me know what you guys think about the palette. I really think that this is just so gorgeous. Kind of like a one-of-a-kind standout piece for my collection. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite look is. This beat out the second look. I was really in love with the second look, but this right here is my favorite look. And then, the second eye right here was also just a vibe. Everything was just gorgeous, but yes. So let me know down below. Give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know if you're going to try this brand. Have you heard of it? Have you seen it like on their radar? It was definitely like an Instagram pop-up thing for me. Knew nothing about the brand, but very happy that I discovered it. And leave me a comment down below. Give this video a big thumbs up. I think I already said that again. Subscribe to my channel because I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chair dance. Chair dance. Hey, chair dance. All right, y'all. Bye.